Ethan never thought he'd be the kind of man to check his wife's phone. He used to laugh at the idea. "If you have to look, you've already lost," he'd say. But that was before the distance, before the late nights, before just a work dinner became a phrase that tasted like metal in his mouth. He and Laura had been married 7 years. They weren't perfect, but they had rhythm, shared mornings, weekend hikes, stupid inside jokes. She worked in marketing. He ran a small carpentry business from their garage. They'd built a quiet, simple life, the kind people called solid. Then things began to shift, not all at once, but like slow water wearing down stone. She started dressing a little differently, not for him, but for something else. The phone was always upside down on the table. She smiled less at home, but laughed more at her screen. When he asked about work, she said, "It's just stressful lately." When he reached for her hand, she pulled away, gently but definitely. At first, Ethan convinced himself it was nothing. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe he was overthinking. He started cooking dinner more often, left little notes on her nightstand like he used to. But she didn't notice. Or maybe she did and didn't care. The moment that changed everything was a Friday night. She texted, "Working late. Don't wait up." He nodded, sent a thumbs-up emoji, and tried to watch a movie. But something gnawed at him. He couldn't explain it. A gut feeling that wouldn't quiet down. At 10:47 p.m., he drove to her office. Lights were off. No cars in the parking lot, except one, her silver Honda, parked across the street near a small Italian restaurant. Through the restaurant window, he saw her, Laura, his wife, laughing, leaning across the table toward a man he didn't know, her hand on his wrist. She looked happy, freer than he'd seen her in months. He sat there for maybe 15 minutes, engine running, heart hammering. He wasn't angry yet, just hollow. Like someone had quietly opened a door in his chest and let everything out. He didn't storm in, didn't shout, didn't make a scene. He just drove home and sat on the porch until sunrise. The next morning, he brewed coffee for both of them, like always. She came in, smiling faintly, her hair still smelling like perfume, like wine. "Morning," she said. He looked at her, really looked, and realized something terrifying. She wasn't even guilty. She'd already made peace with her betrayal. She'd accepted it. He slid her cup across the table. "Who is he?" he asked quietly. Her eyes froze for half a second. Then she sighed, not like she was caught, but like she was tired of pretending. "Ethan, it's complicated." He nodded. "No, it's really not." She told him everything. His name was Daniel, a co-worker. It started after a project trip 3 months ago. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, voice shaking. "It just felt different. I felt alive again." He didn't yell. He just asked, "And now?" Laura looked down. "I don't know." They sat in silence for a long time, the kind that fills every corner of a room until it's hard to breathe. By the end of that week, she'd moved out. No fighting, no drama. She took half of the closet and the photo albums, left the dog, and said she needed time to think. Time, Ethan learned, was brutal. At first, he kept expecting a message, an apology, a sign that she regretted it. But none came. He saw pictures of her on social media. New haircut, new city, same man. He blocked her eventually, not out of anger, but mercy for himself. Months later, she showed up at his workshop. The smell of sawdust and oil filled the air. She looked smaller, thinner. "I just wanted to see you," she said. He put down his tools, wiped his hands, and said calmly, "Why?" She hesitated. "I made a mistake." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, we both did. I loved you enough to believe you'd never lie." She started to cry. He didn't move closer. Didn't touch her. There was nothing left to hold. Before leaving, she whispered, "Do you hate me?" He looked at her, the woman he once thought he'd grow old with, and said softly, "No, I just don't recognize you anymore." She left. The door closed. Ethan turned back to his workbench, the quiet hum of the world returning. There was pain, yes, but also peace, the kind that comes not from forgiving someone else, but from finally forgiving yourself for believing in them too long. That night, he made dinner for one, sat by the window, and for the first time in a year, didn't wait for her to come home.